Hello, welcome to Cable Plus Property, the #1 online educative platform on all issues related to land and landed properties. At Cable Plus Property, we ensure that you get first-hand and verified information on issues related to building construction, documentation, registration, and obtaining planning permits. As you already know, my name is Eliza. When we talk about the first female in everything town planning in Nigeria and in Africa at large, my distinguished guest in this video is definitely who you're referring to. As a student or professional, trust me, you do want to watch this video till the end and enjoy my chat, my conversation with town planner Mrs. Catherine Kennedy George. I'll be right back. Town planner Mrs. Catherine Kennedy George, Miss Sogoro Piton, former lecturer, an author, and town planning consultant, was born in Ijebu Ode, Ogun State in 1948. She was educated at Our Lady of Apostles Secondary School, Ijebu Ode, from 1958 to 1963. Ijebu Ode Grammar School in 1964, the Technical College, now the Polytechnic Ibadan, in 1965 to 1967, the University of Melbourne, Australia, from 1971 to 1972. She was elected first female fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners in 1987, first female African fellow of the Royal Town Planning Institute of Britain in 1990, inducted into the Nigerian Women Hall of Fame in Abuja as first African female town planner on November 3rd, 2007. She was a town planning officer with the Lagos State Development and Property Corporation from 1973 to 1979, a leader of the Technical Monitoring Team, Lagos Metro Line, from 1980 to 1981. She was a lecturer at the Yaba College of Technology from 1986 to the year 2000. She was also an external examiner and moderator to Moshood Abiola Polytechnic, the Polytechnic Ibadan, Kaduna Polytechnic, University of Lagos, and Yaba College of Technology. She is a past chairman of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners Lagos State chapter from 1998 to 2000. Lead planner on Odonla Housing Scheme, Ikorodu, Galadimawa District Plan, Abuja, and Ikorodu Master Plan. A member of the Building Collapse Prevention Guild Lagos State chapter from 2012 to date. She's a recipient of several awards. She was also honored in March 2011 by Faculty of Environmental Design and Management, Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Nigeria, and by Women in Technical Education, WITED, by that is in Yaba College of Technology, December 2013. She's a mother, a grandmother, and is married to architect Akin George of Thomas Ige George family, Upper Ofin Lane, Lagos Island. She's a patron, a table tennis section of the Lagos Country Club, Ikeja. Dear viewer, join me as I have a chat and a professional conversation with town planner Mrs. Catherine Kennedy George. I'll be right back. It's a pleasure having you, ma'am.
I'm very happy to meet you too.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So, from all of your profile that I've read, is there anything interesting that I probably did not mention or that you would like our viewers to know about?
What I find very miraculous is that I had my first job at under 17.
Wow. Wow. Under 17?
Under 17, I was holding a job.
Wow. With which corporation or which organization?
With Ikeja Area Planning Authority.
I'm interested in how you got that job at under 17.
I became a student at the Technical College Ibadan to study town planning in January 1965. And the year is divided into 3 terms: first term, second term, third term. So the first time we had the first term exams for all the students in my year, and I came top up in the class. Ikeja Area Planning Authority is in Western region. There was no Lagos State yet then. So Ikeja Area Planning Authority needed students to sponsor and wrote to Technical College Ibadan to request for the top students. And my name was sent from Ibadan to Lagos. and I was offered the job
Wow.
at under 17, April 1965.
I'm imagining how much was the pay at that time?
Well, I was earning the pay for a school start holder, which was 17 pounds 10 in pounds.
Oh, wow.
17 pounds 10 is quite some money, and Nigerian Planning Authority was going to pay for my school fees and my transportation to Lagos and come back during the long holidays. And I was earning a salary every month.
Wow.
And my mother was widowed. I was able to take care of my mother.
That was before you even kick-started your career as a professional town planner?
I've already kick-started as a student when I got the job. I would have been 17 in June 1965, but I got the job in April 1965.
Okay, seeing that the town planning profession or the built environment industry generally is a male-dominated profession, how are you able to, relate with your classmates all the way from school, like you said, the technical college in Ibadan, and then graduating over the years? How was that possible for you?
I think when I was in the technical college, even before the technical college at Ijebu Ode Grammar School, I spent a year in Ijebu Ode Grammar School, and my classmates were all boys. And I got to understand that boys are just people like everybody else.
Okay.
So from that mindset that boys are people just like everybody else, I was able to understand that I can relate cordially with boys. If I'm polite to them, they are polite to me, we get on fine. That is my first exposure to boys as my classmates at Ijebu Ode Grammar School when I did my science subjects in 1964. I read for my science, physics, chemistry, and additional mathematics to prepare me for term planning.
So while in class, they didn't try to intimidate you and say, what are you looking for? Because in a typical Nigerian society, where the female tries to wear her hair to even study a course that is meant for men, of course, there will be a lot of backlash and intimidation.
There was no intimidation, there was no rivalry. Everybody was comfortable. I was comfortable with them, they were comfortable with me. And they were friendly to me and they were polite to me. I had no problems.
Do you still remember some of your classmates that you were together then? Are they still in the profession? Are they still, your colleagues in the profession until now?
Yes, some of them have passed on, and some of them are still alive. Like Dickin Awisu, Tamplan Awisu. It's my classmate, is alive and well. It's about 86, 84. Much older than me, but he's doing fine.
So how did it feel for you, particularly then, and then growing in your career, being the first female town planner in Nigeria, you must have had a lot of time to relate with so many men. How did it feel for you? How did it make you feel, being the only female at the time?
I was never uncomfortable.
Wow.
I was comfortable, I was at ease. And when I'm asked to speak, I speak. When I'm asked to give my opinion, I give my opinion on issues. Either as a female or as a professional or as both. I was able to give my opinion.
Without any feeling of fear or favor?
Without any feeling of fear, no feeling of fear.
Take us through your journey to becoming a registered town planner. I understand that you started working at below 17, which to me is a great feat. But after that time, what were the other steps you took to become a registered town planner?
I think everything just followed cue. After I finished at the Technical College Ibadan, I met my husband when I was a student.
Oh.
At the Technical College Ibadan. I was a second-year student when I met him.
Wow.
And we actually met on the job. He had just graduated as an architect from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. And I was in my second year in town planning. And that's when our paths crossed.
So it was a love at first sight, I guess.
So So from there on, God was in charge. God is in charge. I completed my course at Ibadan. I came back to work at the Nigerian Planning Authority, settled down, got married, and had children by the grace of God. Then the award came up for the professional program in University of Melbourne, Australia. And there were 3 awards available for the recipients of the award. And there were 4 applications at that time. Out of the 4 applications for the award, I was the best qualified. I was the most qualified. So the 4 applicants put in the application. And there were 3 awards available. Then the board had a meeting and they discussed with me and told me and said that, Mrs. George, you're a female. You want to go to Australia to study term planning? I said, yes. But there are only 3 awards and you are the most qualified and 4 people have applied. What do you think? Don't you think you should give up your place for a man? Because you are a woman and you are married and you have someone to take care of you and to pick up the bills, and you don't need this so much as a man. I said, okay, let me discuss with my husband. So I got to my discuss with my husband. I said, he said he believed in my capability and that he believes that if I go, I make a success of the program. That I should tell them in the office that if they are not able to sponsor me for any reason, he will sponsor me to do the course in Australia. So I got back to the office and told my boss, this is this discussion we had about this program, and this is the response from my husband. He said, that is too much for him to bear. It will be too expensive. Let us see how we work it out. We'll get back to you. So later they got back to me. They said that the award was for 3, but they're able to manage it to extend to 4. So the 4 of us will receive the award for sponsorship to go to Australia. So that is how my journey to the professional course began. And I went to Australia in 1971, January, to start my course in Melbourne.
I'd like you to tell the viewer, how did it feel for you, like you rightly said, from your office, they tried to convince you to give up the position for a man, because there could be a young female watching you right now and is listening to your story, and she's probably also facing that challenge at the time. How did it feel for you, the fact that you had a partner who was very supportive, that even volunteered to sponsor your journey to Australia? I
think it made a lot of difference, because if he didn't volunteer and if he didn't step in at that time, I would have lost the position. And nobody knows where I will be today. But definitely his support has been very important in my life. For me to be able to become from the sub-professional level to the professional level. That support was wonderful.
So speaking of support from your partner, would you say that I know you acknowledge his support, but would you say that it was one of the themes, if not the most important factors, that helped you to grow in your career and then to this stage that you are? And how would you advise a young female out there who is also, in the process of getting a partner and at the same time they want to maintain a successful career? Because in Nigeria, females are usually asked to choose between your career and your family. But I see that you've been able to successfully build a successful career and also have a great family at the same time.
It's not an easy journey. It's quite intimidating journey to have a career and a family life. But for me, family life is very, very important. As I said to Tamplana Okuni when we had our first chat, I said, Leni aboisimi oko, which means that after the long journey in life, you come back home. Home is home, and home is very important. Anything that affects the home should give way. That's what I believe in myself. And raising children is a lot of effort and prayers. Nobody can do it except God. No matter how much you plan, you pray for God to give you the blessing. That blessing is very, very important from God. I believe in prayers. The efficacy of prayers is important in my life.
You said that nothing else is important than marriage.
Than family.
Than family, yeah. So would you have given up your career for your family at the time? And how would you advise a young female out there to maintain a successful family?
The conviction has to come from within. You have to be convinced within yourself that what I'm doing is important to me, and I will do it and to the best of my ability. That conviction is very, very important. Every other thing follows cue.
All right. So how did you become the first Nigerian female town planner? Was it that at the time there was no other female in the industry? You were the only female at the time?
I finished in December 1972 in Australia as the first female town planner on record in Nigeria. The record is there. The records are there.
How do you feel when you're referred to as the first female town planner in Nigeria? I'm imagining myself being referred to as that. I think I'll be like jumping on my feet. How do you feel?
I just feel that it could have been anybody else. It's just God that gave me the opportunity. It's an opportunity that God gave me. It could have been anybody else. So I don't feel solely-headed. I just feel thankful.
Well, you deserve to.
I just feel thankful to God.
Let's take a short commercial break and we'll be right back.
Cable Plus Property, the hub of professionals in the built environment and the #1 online educative platform on all issues related to land and landed property. At Cable Plus Property, our aim is to ensure that all Nigerians and non-Nigerians have at the tip of your fingers, free of charge, all information on landed matters. We provide you with all information you need to know about land procurement, land documentation and development, planning permit procurement, building construction, and so on. Join us today for free by subscribing to our YouTube channel, like and follow us on our social media platforms, and check us on our website www.cableplusproperty.com. Together, we shall make our environment better. Spend and build right.
Hello, welcome back. It's still the Cable Plus Property Show, and I have with me in this video town planner Mrs. Catherine Kennedy George. Aside, working as a consultant, please, ma, mention other things that you've done in your years of experience and working and activities in the town planning profession. Other things that you've done to contribute to the profession in Nigeria, in Africa, and even in the world at large.
I think the first project I worked on when I came back from Australia was Ijebu Ode of Newtown. After first I going towards Badagry. And the second was Ogba Housing Scheme. And I worked on that between 1972 and 1979 as project planner. And for Ijebu Ode of Newtown, it was a multidisciplinary committee that worked on that Ijebu Ode of Newtown. And we had architects, we had town planners, we had engineers, we had estate valuers, we had surveyors, we had engineers. So it was multidisciplinary. And that was my first experience as the project planner coordinator. I was coordinating the work of all the different disciplines, and they were submitting their weekly updates to me for coordination. So that was very interesting, and I found it as a challenge, and I learned from it. And that was where my first experience of report writing, technical report writing for a major project came in. And that encouraged me later in life when I decided to write books on planning. It gave me a very strong background in writing, professionally and technically. After Ijebu Ode of Ogba Housing Scheme, I worked with late Otumba architect Adebanjo on University of Ijebu Master Plan as the project planner. He passed on recently, he was buried last week. But he was a very good boss to me, and I was able to work together with him on University of Ijebu Master Plan. And Later, I went into teaching. And in teaching, I started writing. Whatever experiences I have, I write. I started writing, I continued writing. After a while, by 1997, I said to myself, I've been writing. Let me try to put this in a book form. And that was when I was able to publish my first book, Basic Principles and Practice of Urban Regional Planning. First edition in 1999. It was launched in 1999. That was my first edition. My first book on planning. And after that, I wrote a second book in year 2002. After that, I wrote a third book in 2007. And I wrote the fourth book in 2009. And I kept writing and writing and writing and writing. I've so far written 7 books. 5 on planning and 2 on life and living. Life and living, my experience in life. Friendship, raising children, bringing up the girl child. Those are the things I've also written about from my own little experience in life.
Okay, how was your working experience as a lecturer? But before you answer that question, you started working at
Ikeja Area Planning Authority.
Yes, Ikeja Area Planning Authority. So how
Western Region.
Western Region. How was your experience working there? And then at what point did you think that or decide that you needed to move from that position? And then how was the growth process like, until you became a lecturer?
Well, I worked first as a town planner before I became a lecturer. I had done about 14 years of work before I went into teaching. And I think I found teaching very interesting. I first started teaching at the Lagos State Polytechnic. It was Lagos State College of Science and Technology then, at Surulere, when I started teaching. And from there, I went to Yaba Tech. And I taught in Yaba Tech for 14 years. And I enjoyed teaching because there's a turnover of people I interact with compared to working in the office. In the office, the people are there all the time. But when you are teaching, the students change from year to year. And I found that very interesting. And I'm interested in the youth. I got to know more about the youth. And that helped me in raising my children. Because my contact with the students helped me to understand my own children better.
Development control was not as difficult in the past as it is now. Can you, judging from your experience in the past and, what you're witnessing now, can you really tell us the reason for that?
That is very obvious because in the past there was great respect for law. The Ikeja Area Planning Authority was in charge of development control for the Western region. That is from Fadi up to Ikeja and Apapa. And LEDB, Lagos Executive Development Board, was in charge of Victoria Island, Ikoyi, Lagos Island. And at that time, there was great respect for law and order. Nobody would dare start building without an approved building plan. And they fear the town planning authority. Town plan is coming, please make sure your papers are in order. But after some time, there was a breakdown. And nobody respected law and order any longer. People say, I know the person there, I can talk to them. Concerning the building, don't worry, I know them. I will discuss with them. I'm very important. People feel very important. And because of that, they feel that they can break law and order. So that is the main difference that I have noticed about development control. There used to be respect for law and order, but not any longer. Not so much as before.
How do you think professionals can bring back this respect? Because if it continues...
It has to come from the top. Once the people at the top, the government at the top respects law and order, everybody else will respect. But when the government itself does not respect law and order, nobody will respect law and order. That's how it is. That's the only way we can bring it out, bring it back.
Okay, have you all like to know what are the types of plan that planners can produce?
I'll start from the local level, from the community level. If you walk down this street, you see that there are a lot of people selling fruits and tomatoes and vegetables. Those are people that we need every day to be taken care of in our plants. So that when you go out to buy, you are buying from where the environment is clean. You can buy your fruits, you can buy your tomatoes, you can buy your pepper from where the environment is clean. That is very important, to be able to take care of our local community needs, and from there move to the higher scale of recreational grounds. We don't have enough recreation grounds for elderly people and for the youth in our communities. It's very important to have communication, to have recreational centers. It's very, very important. And also we need more of garden and green spaces. It's very important also to have green areas where you can sit down and read your newspaper, or just sit down and just take breeze. You don't have to go to your neighbor's house. You want to sit down somewhere quiet and enjoy the cool breeze and in a safe area. All those things are very important for planners to provide.
So, before you retired, what were your experiences as a consultant? Getting projects to work on, working with other professionals, generally.
It wasn't very easy getting consultancy jobs, even then, because you had to write your proposal, and proposal costs money to produce the submission. And at that time, we didn't have email. We had to do everything longhand and hard copies, and that was very expensive. And instead of using email, we had to do a lot of traveling, consultation, going up and down. It was interesting, but it was expensive to run consultancy jobs. And at the end of it, maybe you wonder whether you made any extra income from the work you did. Because to get the job executed, you discover that when you start the job, what you proposed for the executing the job will not work out the same way. It will come out to be more expensive. And that means that your income is going to be less than what you anticipated. And that means that you are gaining experience, a lot of experience, but you may not be gaining a lot of income to bargain with to balance the experience you are gaining. I think it was all right. It was interesting. It was challenging. But just there were very few to come by. It wasn't easy to come about consultancy jobs. It was a lot of effort.
An interesting question now. Aside, you mentioned earlier that for professionals who are consultants, they should learn to build their network, have contacts. Aside that, what would you say were the things you did or the factors that helped you scale through the profession as a consultant, that helped you to get, the jobs you were able to get? Yeah, I understand that you said jobs were very few to get, but the ones you were able to get, what would you say were those unique selling points that helped you?
After I got the jobs, the next challenge is to execute the job. And I was very, very lucky that I always had supportive staff working with me, all alone. By the grace of God, I have one of them with me today. Town planner D.A. Yusuf, he has worked with me. And town planner Dr. A.M. Olasheni has worked with me. And town planner Comfort Udo, who is also here today, has worked with me. And they are very reliable people. And when they come in and they work with me on a project, I take them as my younger partners. I don't take them as you work for a month, I pay you for a month, and that's it, goodbye. I make them feel important and involved in the progress of the firm, and committed and interested. And once they know that they are interested and their welfare is important, they are committed to working with me fully on the job. And so I think that was the very main issue. And also they were all believers, either Christians or Muslims. They believed in God and they believe in prayers. And anything we are going to work on, we also pray before we start. I think that was very important.
How has the employment opportunities been for you? Now, I'm sure that if you think back at when you started as a professional and you look at how the industry is now, you would agree with me that there are not so many employment opportunities, so to speak, for professionals, all right? But my question is, how was it like for you at the time? The employment opportunities are available, the salary, the practice, the industry in general. How was it for you at the time? Beyond you, I mean the industry, the profession. How growing or developing was it?
Like everything else has been affected. in the economy, the practice has been affected because the construction industry is the basic industry for every nation, and the construction industry has been very badly affected by the slide of the economy all over the country, and that has affected job opportunities. There was a time when you finish in the university, you get a job straight away, but not any longer. Not only in town planning, but in other professions as well.
What advice would you give from your experience to professionals who own their own consultancy or consulting companies now?
To start with, they have to believe in themselves. And secondly, they have to have contacts. It's very important to maintain contact with your old schoolmates, your neighbors, your family, people who can reach out to, who can reach out on your behalf. Because nothing in life is isolated. And particularly town planning is something that affects everybody. And you need support. You need a support base for the work to get on as the consultant town planner. It's very important, your support. Family support and school, alumni support, neighborhood support from your church, support from everywhere. And you need blessing of God.
And how do you feel about your career as a town planner when you think back at who you were, as under 17, getting a job with the Keja Area Development Commission, Western Region, and where you are now? How do you feel about that?
When I started as under 17, nobody can tell the future. I was even too young to think of the future. I just took it a day at a time. And God has given me the grace to take it a day at a time. Because all along this long journey, it's a very long journey of hurdles, of falling down and picking up, and falling down and picking up. But the important thing is to continue to pick up and move on and believe in God. It's very, very important. Because one should not give up.
Okay, do you listen to music?
Yes.
What kind of music? I'm sure you know Kiss Daniel.
Buga, buga.
Yes. That's the song that everybody knows. Even my grandma will sing Buga. So what are your hobbies? What do you do? I mean, you've been retired for how many years now, ma?
I turned 74 years ago.
Wow.
I stopped the active consultancy.
4 years, for 4 years now. So in 4 years, what do you do when you wake up in the morning?
I just suddenly found that my body was very tired, that I've worked for so long, and that I had to give some back to myself, take care of myself, take care of my inner self, do more exercises, read more, pray more.
Speaking of books, what kind of books do you read? I'm sure the kind of books you read now will be different from the kind of books you used to read.
Interestingly, the book I'm reading now is about the gut. The health of the gut is the health of the body.
Okay.
That means that whatever you eat is very, very important. And it affects your gut, your inner intestines. And when that inner intestines is healthy, your body is healthy. That's the book I'm reading now.
Do you ever wish that you had your young self back?
In a way, I have my young self back through the young people that are always around with me. Somehow, I always have young people around with me. And in that way, I'm reliving my youthful days. I don't feel myself completely out of the picture. Not yet, anyway.
Okay. So you have mentees rather, people like professionals that you mentor and teach them. Do you have such people around you?
I have one of them here today. You met her, town planner Comfort Udo. There are many of them, but I thank God for their success. They are all doing very well. And my students at Lagos State Polytechnic and Yabatech, they are all doing very well too. They're in top positions now all over the country.
What kind of exercises do you do? I'm glad you mentioned
I walk.
exercises. Okay.
I walk every day.
Okay.
It's the easiest exercise. Move the body, walk.
So if I were to do a YouTube video, I'm sure you know YouTube videos, on you, what would a day in your life be like when you wake up in the morning, until the setting of the sun?
Before the setting of the sun, I make sure I sleep.
Okay.
My siesta is very important to me. I sleep about 1 or 2 hours in the afternoon. Then I walk in the evening before it gets dark. I used to do road work before, but the roads are not safe any longer. So I do the walk in the garden every day. I make it a routine.
If you were to give an average number or a sort of approximation of the students you've taught, can you give a number?
The number?
Yes.
They're a large number. They're a large number. But I remember some of them very vividly. Tamplana Kehinde Oshinaike was my student.
Oh wow, that's the general manager of the wow.
Tamplana Fumi Oshifui was my student.
Wow.
Dr. Ehem Olashini was my student. Tamplana Yusuf was my student. Tamplana Mrs. Ayo Elegbede, the chairman of the Women's Wing of Lagos State Chapter, was my student.
These are people we've had on Ijebu Ode property.
So you know them, you've met them.
Yes, I do.
Well, I have so many students, so many of them. And Peter Fusudo, Lagos State Polytechnic, was my student. Simen Idekolo, Lagos State Polytechnic, was my student.
If you look at all of these people you've mentioned,
And I'm still in contact with the ones I mentioned, their names. I can reach out to them, I can call them on phone, they can speak to me. I try to keep contact with as many of them as possible. Adegbola was my student too.
so if you look at all of these people you've mentioned, how do you feel seeing that you taught them? And how do you feel about their career now? Their position in the industry and how they are faring at the moment.
When I hear about them, their activities, I feel very happy. I'm very proud of them. And I'm humbled that in a little way I've contributed to their success in life. For doing that, I thank God that I was able to do that little bit.
Would you have anything to say to them? Let's assume Town Planner Kehinde Oshinaike is watching you right now.
I would say, Omomeji, well done. You know what Omomeji means? Omomeji is twins.
Yeah.
I say, Omomeji, well done.
And to the others, of course.
Everybody, well done. God bless you. And keep moving on. Move forward. Don't give up. Keep trying.
What advice do you have for female professionals, young female professionals who are up and coming, and are looking up to you? Because to be honest, it's surreal to be seated here with you, knowing that you're the first female, not just in Nigeria, but in Africa, and they're just looking forward to that time when someone will be engaging them like this and they're talking about their years of experience. What advice would you have for them?
I think the advice I first have for them is to have faith in God and faith in themselves. You have to have a belief in yourself. Nobody can do it for you. You can have the support of a spouse or the support of family. But when the chips are down, sometimes the chips are down and say, well, Kehinde, you're on your own. And I know I'm on my own, I have to pray. Sometimes the chips are down, you're on your own. And that's where your faith in God comes in, and faith in yourself. You have to believe in God and believe in yourself. That this is a challenging time for me. I can't handle it alone. Please, Father, take charge. Handle this for me. And also, I have to appeal to our men that they should respect our women. It's very, very important. Don't expect that because every woman is a woman, therefore, they don't know what they are doing. Sometimes, some of the women are very smart. Let's give them a chance to be able to do what they can do and to do it well. So I think in that area, we need the men to support, the men in our professions to continue to support women. I had support all the time I was working, and I had respect from my male counterparts. But I want it to continue, not only in town planning, but all other professions, that the men should continue to support the women. Because the women cannot do it alone. We need the support of the men, be it them, their brothers, or their husbands, or cousins, or family members. We need their support. It's very important.
What advice do you have for the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, particularly the Lagos State chapter?
Transportation is a challenge. Moving from point A to point B is a challenge. I think it's an area that continues to be addressed and should continue to be addressed. Water transportation, road transportation, air transportation, moving from one point to other in Lagos is always a challenge. I think we should continue to look into it and find solutions. Like yesterday was very bad all over Lagos. Traffic was very bad. Sometimes it happens like that. When you get to Lagos, the first thing you need is accommodation. We need more small accommodations to be available. Small letting accommodations, maybe 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom flats, rather than very big houses that people used to live in before. There's not much demand for very big accommodation any longer because of the cost of living is very high.
As we round off, Ma, now you observe that in our society today, we are having women coming up, in professions to take executive roles, the leading roles in different industries. But you realize that such women oftentimes tend not to give the required respect and honor to their husbands, right? Well, how would you advise such women to maintain a balance so that they wouldn't end up losing their family on the altar of their career?
I think it is a continuous learning process. There's no wife in the family that will say she has gone through the learning process completely. I'm still in the learning process. But there are some things that I do and I later discover that this thing I did is not quite right. And you must be able to retrace your steps and ask for forgiveness and pick up yourself and have the strength and the willpower to move on. So it is a continuous process because the values are changing. When I got married about 50 years ago, we women in the family cook. When there's something happening in the family, they call us Ijebu Ode. And we Ijebu Ode cook, and when we cook, we serve, and when we serve, we wash plates. And it's when we are cooking together, we get to know each other better, the wives, and there's a bonding. But now that bonding does not so much happen because we have the caterer who brings in the food, and we have the waiters who serve, and we have the waiters who wash. So the Ijebu Odes now become guests as well. But at that time, the bonding was very, very important. And we learned from each other, and we shared challenges. I think it's important to share challenges. One just doesn't stop about respecting the husband because you don't know what the other person is going through. Everybody is going through one thing or the other. But what you need is advice, a good advice, and prayers to help you to cope with your challenges. I think that is very important. Everything else will fall in shape, but it's important to have faith and to pray, to have time to pray, and to support each other.
That's the two people in the relationship, the man and the woman.
The man and the woman. Every relationship is different. There's no relationship that you say this relationship is like this or this one is like this. Every relationship is different. So it depends on the relationship you are in, and you can assess the relationship you are in, and be truthful to yourself, and see how things are going. And if you don't understand, ask God to show you the way. Raising children, both my own children and from the extended family, has been very interesting over the years. And there's no hard and fast rule about raising children. You just have to be careful to understand each child, because every child is different from the other child. One should never compare children. Children are different, and it's very important to take time to understand each child, what the characteristics of the child is, and what they can cope with and what they cannot cope with. Some children are early learners, they learn very fast, and some children are slow learners. So you don't compare the slow learner with the early learners, with the fast learners. Say, look at your cousin. She has finished secondary school and she's now old. What are you doing? Something like that. You shouldn't compare children. It's very, very important not to compare children. I think that was what I learned in raising my children. I think it's very important that every child should have self-esteem. Even no matter how difficult it is for a child to learn, there is something that child should hold on to. That self-esteem is very important for a child to be confident that I'm going to be able to do it, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. That child has to say to himself and believe in himself that he can get it done.
One very last question.
Yes.
I'd like you to share an experience that you can remember, while you were working as a town planner, maybe an experience with your client or with your boss, something like that.
Yes. My book launch at Victoria Island in 1999. The history behind the book launch was very significant. I was due for promotion in my office. I never got promoted. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. I was on one spot. I said, what's going on? No promotion, no movement. What's going on? I tried to find out. I discovered that it was for a political reason. I made up my mind that I was not going to be angry and I was not going to be bitter about it. But at that time, my mother-in-law was with us at home. She came visiting. She has passed on now. So she was here. She came visiting. And I said, Mama, I want to ask you a question. This is my situation in the office. And I understand that I have a right to be promoted. What do you think? She said, how do you know you have a right to be promoted? I said, because I've seen the book, which is like a guide for promotion, that I qualify to be promoted. And that somebody advised me that I should write to protest the injustice. And Mama said, my child, never, never, never pick up your pen to write about any protest for anything in your life. If God gives you, fine. If God does not give you, still fine. Just say thank you and move on. But don't write a letter of protest. At that point, I dropped the idea. Although I know that I qualify, but because she said, never, 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 never write any protest in your life, I dropped the idea. And you know what I did? I went back to my study. All the writings I've been writing. I said, let me put all this together and write a book. So I wrote a book. I prepared it for publishing. I was able to get it published. I was able to get it launched in the year 1999. And when I spoke to my husband, I said, how did it occur to you to speak to Mama about it? I said, because Mama is a very intelligent woman. That's why I asked for her opinion. And up to now, I still cherish that opinion and that advice. Wherever you are in life, even if you feel marginalized, never, never protest. Just take it as an experience of life. How can I move on with this experience? How can I do better with this experience? How can I make good use of this experience? Make good use of the experience positively and move on. Because everybody has their challenges. But that's the very major. And when I was called to speak as an author of the book, I felt in my heart a gratitude for my mother-in-law's advice. And that a gratitude to God that I accepted the advice. So that was a very major turning point in my life. And from then, I started writing books. Not to make money, but to put down my ideas. And hope that my ideas will be beneficial for those who are coming behind. So that was a very, very big experience for me.
I learned that there's an association of women town planners in Nigeria. What do you think about that? What do you have to say to them?
Yes, during our discussion, I already mentioned that the chairman of the Lagos State chapter of the Association of Women Town Planners in Nigeria was my student.
Yeah.
And I have great belief in the association at the national level and at the chapter level, state chapters level. And I think they have started very well and they are doing very well. I want to thank the national body of the association for what they are doing all over the country. I want to thank the Lagos State chapter, the chairman, Town Planner Mrs. Ayole, and all the members of the Lagos State chapter. This portrait to my right was given to me by the Lagos State chapter of the association to commemorate my birthday in June this year. I want to thank them for remembering me from time to time. And I want to thank them for building their homes and supporting their husbands. And for supporting the men in the executive. I think I'm very proud of them. They are very peaceful. And I want them to continue to be peaceful and productive, and give respect to who respect is due. That is a very big statement, but it's a very wide statement. It's very important to give respect to who respect is due. On that happy note, I say thank you to the women for doing so well. I'm proud of them, and they should continue to do well.
Thank you, ma. Would like you to say something about Cable Plus Property, the endeavor. We've been doing this for over a year now. Would also like to take a few pieces of advice from you.
Well, I heard about Cable Plus on my platform, on my phone, and I said, these people, they are very interesting. Do people read this platform? Then next time another one comes out, so fast. Is this Nigeria that we have no NEPA, we have no electricity? They are still producing regularly, and I got very interested in reading about them and following up on them. And I think Cable Plus is Cable Plus.
Yes.
Is doing property. I must not forget the property. Cable Plus Properties. I think you are doing very well. And there was a time I wrote a comment on the platform that I think you should have some programs in Yoruba, so that people can listen in Yoruba, in the mother tongue, maybe Yoruba and some other mother tongues, so that people can understand and follow up for those who cannot read English. And also, I want to mention that we mothers should try to speak mother tongue to our children. Some mothers speak English to their 2-year-old children. And I wonder, what is the importance of talking to a 2-year-old in English when the mother tongue is there? The mother tongue is very important. I think we should continue to teach our children the mother tongue. So Cable Plus, I think you are doing exceedingly very well. And I want to see some of your programs in the mother tongue and hear more about you. And we don't know much about your property part of it. You are educating us about town planning and the environment. But let us know more about the properties for those who are more interested in buying properties, so that you can convince them not to relocate, that there are some nice properties where they can, environments where they can live, where they can be happy. Please try to work on that. We don't want all our children jackpot to abroad. Let them stay back and enjoy life in Nigeria. So I thank you for honoring me. I'm very grateful. I'm very appreciative for taking your time to honor me. And I hope somebody has benefited from today's discussion. And I want to tell all my former students who are now big men and big women that well done, and thank you for having me as your teacher. And I thank God for sparing my life, for making today possible. I think it's a privilege and it's a miracle that I was able to go through all the challenges. I thank God for sparing my life. And I thank God for all of you here. God bless you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I really have learned a lot, and I'm sure that whoever is watching this video would learn a lot from you.
Thank you very much.
For sharing your knowledge, your experience, and everything.
Thank you, and God bless you.
First female in town planning in Africa, the first female chairman of the Lagos State chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, and the first female fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. I mean, literally, first female in everything town planning in Nigeria and Africa. That is town planner Mrs. Catherine Kennedy George. I trust that you've learned a lot from the conversation, because I have, and all of the nuggets that she has shared from her experience, her knowledge, are worth taking note of. Thank you once again for watching this video. Of course, as always, this is Cable Plus Property. Ensure that you click the subscribe button below. Share this video with family, friends, colleagues, even students as well, young female planners as well. And don't forget to head onto our social media platforms on Facebook, on Instagram, and follow us at Cable Plus Property. My name is Aiza, and I'll see you in the next video.